everybody. Let me see if you guys just put on some music in the background. That really helps center and focus me into my heart. And I'll post the link to that music too in the comments. But I wanted to come on today to talk about getting out of your head and getting into your heart, and how it is that you bring your awareness. Hey Katie, how it is you bring your awareness from your head to your heart, and what action steps you can take to do that. Because I know that what happens when you stay in your head, you are getting a lot of thoughts come up, maybe fears come up. That's where anxiety surfaces. Hey Amy, when you get stuck in your head, that's where the ego mind or the victim mind reigns free, right? Hey Paula, thanks everybody for hopping on. So when you get stuck in your head, you feel your wheels spinning, you get into the low frequencies sometimes in fear, doubt, judgment, opinion, and all of those lower frequencies can affect us, right? And I posted earlier about, hey Joanna, I posted earlier about what does your heart speak to you, or what do you hear from your heart, or when you tap into your heart, what do you get from your heart? I think that was the question I said, and one person was like, how do I get there, right? And I know that it's really difficult sometimes to conceptualize that, because you're like, I feel like I am in my heart. I mean, I know I have a heart and I have a mind, but it is simply where you put your awareness. So when your awareness is in your head and you are observing your thoughts, or you're in your thoughts and you are holding on to your thoughts, that's where you can start getting that monkey mind going. That's where you feel like you can't shut it off. And I have a friend who has come to me recently that is suffering from severe anxiety, severe insomnia, because she feels like she just can't get out of her head. It's like you get trapped there and you're almost on like this hamster wheel and you don't know how to get off, right? And for those of us that aren't as aware of the definition between the two, you feel like there's no way out, right? Because it's your own head, and when you identify with your thoughts, you get trapped in your thoughts. And it's simply being able to look at your thoughts from a higher perspective and to observe them and to let them go and know that they're not yours, that we are then able to release them and move our awareness back down into our heart. So it is honestly just simply, if you are stuck in your head, like taking a pause, taking a deep breath in, centering yourself, grounding yourself, and then observing your thoughts or releasing them, whatever you need to do to become aware of the cycle that you're in, right? Because it just takes the awareness of the fact that you're in a cycle of monkey mind, or that you're in a cycle of just overthinking and thinking yourself into a corner where you feel trapped. Hey, Angela. Hey, this might help you too. So what we're talking about is how to get out of our head and how to stop our mind from running. Because I know some of you probably sit awake at night thinking about all the things you need to do or should do, or did I do it the right way? And that's where doubt comes in, right? And doubt will freeze you. Doubt will keep you where you're at. Inquiry and truth is what makes you move forward. It's what gets you curious. It's what gets you. And there is a healthy way to be in your mind, and there's an unhealthy way to be in your mind, right? The healthy way to be in your mind is to know that you're just observing this thought process, and you're just letting it take you down the rabbit hole wherever it could go. And it's just a curiosity about it, and it's an observation. When you are in doubt, there's fear attached to it, right? So anytime we have fear attached to anything in our mind, that's what brings up this anxiety. That's what brings up the constrictive feelings. That's what makes you feel like you are oppressed. That's what makes you feel like you can't get out, like you're trapped, right? Because you just keep thinking. And oftentimes, sometimes we're not even asking our own questions. We're asking questions for somebody else, or we're trying to solve somebody else's problems. Or, you know, if that's the case, then it's oppressive. Even though you feel like your wheels are spinning, and it's not even spinning for you, it's spinning for somebody else, right? And so how do we break that? We bring awareness to it. And when you bring awareness to it, you can observe your thoughts and decide, hold on a second, and then you come back down to your heart center, and you just feel. You're going to feel instead of thinking. And it is simply just like, if you can take your hand and then bring it to your head, and then and then let it travel down, and then feel the sensation as you are dragging your finger down your face to your throat. And then if you're feeling constricted, if you're feeling like you can't breathe because your thoughts, just like wipe it away, wipe it away, wipe your thoughts away, wipe it away and let it go. And just simply like push it to the side, right? Like, I don't want this anymore. This isn't what I want to experience anymore. And then just simply move to your heart and dig into your heart and try to connect with the energy in there. And that's what's going to get you into your God source. That's what's going to get you connected to source, to universe, to God, to whatever you associate with as that higher power, right? And that's what is going to absolve all of that stress, all of that overthinking, when you can just dip down into your heart and just be there. And you know what else helps is, instead of listening to the thoughts in your mind, listen to the sound of your breathing and just breathe in deeply and breathe out deeply, right? And I know that a lot of people who suffer from anxiety, or you know, they always tell you to count to 10, right? So it is when you bring that focus to something else that you are able to move out of that overthinking. Because instead of overthinking and letting those thoughts fill your mind and your mind feeling so heavy, you are starting to just bring it to another activity. 1, 2, 3, 4. And instead you can just, you know, center yourself and hold your heart, and then allow yourself to just listen to your breathing, right? Because that allows you to be in the present. What happens when you're in your monkey mind? What happens when you're overthinking? You are either in the past, worrying about a situation that happened either recently or way far in the past, or you're thinking about the future. When you have anxiety or fear, it's never coming from the present. It's always coming from future or past projections, right? So your mind is thinking about how things went, how things could go, and you're just spinning your wheels for that. Instead, I want you to get very present and focused on your body, and you're able then to center into your heart, and you're able to listen to your breathing, because what is that breathing? The breathing is happening now, in the present. So when you can get yourself in the present moment, the anxiety will seem like it's gone. It's going to disappear. It's going to go away, and you can break that cycle. And literally, you can even see yourself in your mind getting off that monkey mind, getting off the treadmill, you know, the hamster wheel where your wheels are turning. And sometimes a lot of you guys are trying to find a solution, right? So the reason you get stuck in your head is because you're like, give me the answer, give me the answer, I want the answer, let me find the answer. And you're off in your head trying to find the answer. And what is going to bring you the answer is when you put it down, step away, and allow that epiphany to come to you. That epiphany can't be forced. That insight can't be forced. So you're not going to find the answers in your head. You're only going to find it in your heart. So that's why it's important, when you feel like you've hit against a wall and you're like anxious about a certain situation that there hasn't been a solution for, all you have to do is just stop trying to move forward, because that door is not open for you, right? The only key that you are able to get is the keys that are located in your heart. So the only thing that's going to be unlocked to be able to unlock this situation is going to come from your heart. It's going to come from an epiphany, something that unlocks in your heart, or it's going to be a shift in your perspective where you're like, I don't even need to be worrying about this, or this isn't even my problem, or, you know, things will come to you where it'll just, the anxiety will just melt away. The thoughts will just melt away. And I know that some of you do struggle with, like, even meditation, right? Where your mind is just going, and you can't get into that quiet place where you're meditating. Raise your hand comment yes if this is you, where it's really difficult for you to get into a quiet meditative practice because you feel like you can't shut off your mind. Because I know that it is a struggle for some people, especially if you guys know your human design, but I'm in the business of solving problems. Yeah, Angela, but you don't need to do that at your own detriment, at your own health detriment too, because, right, when you're in your mind so much, it's very straining. It's straining. And when you're able to center and focus, those ideas will come to you very much easier. Remember, Angela, you are super creative, and it's not until, you know, you get into it's, and honestly, we all need to detach from the feeling that these are our ideas. They're not our ideas. They come down, they drop in. So when you are going and searching in your mind for something, for a solution or whatever, It is you, but these ideas, these epiphanies are usually from source or from you know, your heart. And so that's where we need to give the credit to. It's not necessarily that, like, because that also has to do with pride too, and right, we're releasing all those shadows, we're releasing all that attachment, because it's the attachment that causes suffering. Say you also get an idea, and if you are so attached to that idea and that person doesn't give you credit for it, are you going to get upset about it? Yeah, probably, because you're going to be like, that originated from me, that's my idea. And you just took it and you just took credit for it, right? But I want you guys all to know that anything happening in here is not of you, is not from you. It's just you're just observing it and deciding what you want to partner with, what you want to pull in. Sorry, I'm thinking my family's coming home. What you want to pull in, what you want to partner with, what you want to move forward with, right? And so these ideas are just little like drops. Like you can choose to partner with them. You can choose to worry about them, have fear around that idea, or you can choose to give it to somebody else, because it's not always ours, and we need to have non-attachment to these ideas and to these thoughts, because when we start grasping these thoughts, that we start feeling that suffering, that we start feeling that anxiety, because we're like, do I need to do something with this right now? Do I need to give this away right now? Can I wait to speak this, right? And so what I was saying, back to meditation, what I was saying about meditation is that when you feel like you can't shut off your mind, it's usually because the quiet space that some people get into where they just like, because I literally can go zero and just like zone out at something, and then my mind is completely empty. It's kind of like you just step aside. Your ego, your mind steps out and sits down, and then whatever's supposed to come in and comes through. But some people have a defined head center, have a defined angel center, and they're constantly thinking, they're constantly moving. And it's because they are the problem solvers. They are the ones that are searching for things. They are the ones that are connecting the dots, right? And I'm meant to be more like receive input, receive ideas, receive, you know. If you have a defined head center, a defined angel center, you're transmitting. You're the one putting all the ideas and energy out there to the world, and you're thinking about it. So what needs to happen when you want to meditate or quiet your mind is you need to give your mind something to focus on. So it may not be that you're able to just sit here and get quiet. That's probably not going to happen. What is going to need to happen is you're probably going to need to give it an activity. So what I told one of my manifestor friends when she was talking about how do I get into my heart center, well, it's not going to look the same for me as it does for you. So what's going to have to happen is maybe you're going to free write. Maybe for you to be able to talk to source, for you to be able to hear source, is for you to be able to auto write, because your mind needs something to do. So you can just simply start writing on a piece of paper and do free writing where, for example, I'm outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out a piece of paper and I'm going to write everything that I'm noticing, that I'm seeing, all the thoughts that are coming into my head. I'm just going to say, so flower, beach, trees, hummingbird, and I just keep writing it out, and it's just a consistent stream of thought, and you're just recording your thought stream, right? And then eventually some things are going to start popping out of your mind, of your hand, that you didn't even think was there, right? And that's how source is going to speak to you, because what needs to happen is source needs to go in between the gaps of your thinking, right? So you're doing that, and then all of a sudden source plops in this new idea and you're able to write it. Or you can train yourself to start free writing. So maybe you're chanting a mantra and then you're letting your hand go, and your hand is auto writing for you, and you're just writing down what is coming out, right? Because I know that it's hard to get out of your head, and so you just need to give it something to do. So also what I like to listen to is let me get it. It's called Expand. This is what it looks like. Expand from the heart center, and it's a mantra called Adgurai Namai. So I just will keep saying that, and then eventually I start feeling this overpowering sensation in my heart, and I can literally feel my heart expanding because of the frequency of these words. And so it's really easy. All she does is she repeats those 3 words there's like 6 or 9 words that she repeats, because there's 3 separate phrases that she says, and you just repeat them, and by the end of the song you know them all. So you just keep repeating these. Yeah, I love her music so much. This is actually my favorite one. Allie actually turned me on to it. I have never even heard of her before. And whenever I want to feel more loving, whenever I want to dip down into my heart center, I just put that on and I just repeat the mantra. Or for those of you that know Om meditation, you can simply like have your mind just keep repeating Om. And Om really grounds you in the present, in the moment, and it gets you in touch with your I am presence, right? And a lot of crazy stuff happens and shifts for you when you can get into the vibration of the Om frequency. So you can start doing that, and that'll help you dip into your heart center. So I like to listen here. I'm going to play this for a second. You guys can hear it. I couldn't love me. You got couldn't love me. I couldn't love me. City Guru Devi Name. And you can just listen to that and just repeat it over and over and over again, and it allows you to give your mind something to do and feel the vibration of that music, feel the vibration of those words, because every word has a vibration, right? And when we can tap into those higher frequency words, we're able to get ourselves into that higher frequency. And what unlocks in those higher frequencies is that unconditional love energy, and that's where you guys want to be when you're coming out of your mind to your heart, because your mind is where your ego lies, and it's where the victim mind lies, and that'll get you into lower frequencies. But your heart doesn't need an explanation for anything. Your heart doesn't need to solve anything. Your heart doesn't have any problems. It is in the now, and as long as we're breathing and alive here in this present moment, we know that we are okay, right? And even if we aren't alive, we know that on the other side, everything's okay. There is no such thing as death. So when you can realize that, you are aligning yourself with, you know, that source energy, that all that is energy, and you know that there's nothing wrong there, and that everything is perfect. And so everything in your life is perfect, and you don't no longer need to know anything. We need know anything. All we need to do is just be. And so that's how we get into our heart space and bringing that awareness there. So you need to either allow yourself to let go, release those thoughts. Like for me specifically, I'm just releasing the thoughts and letting my mind go blank, and like basically putting myself in an empty room with nothing in there, right? So I'm removing myself, observing where I'm at, removing myself from that area, going into another room or another space, and setting the intention that no thoughts can come in here, no other people can come in here. This is my meditation. This is my quiet place, and this is where I'm going to be. And you set that intention, and that is it. Or if you feel like you can't shut off your mind, give your mind something to do. Give it a repetitive phrase, or write, or give it a job to do, so that while you're writing, you can get more ideas, and it'll start flowing out on your paper, right? Angela says, I like listening to release the fear of the unknown. That's actually from my friend Ashley Hay. She used to do, her business has kind of evolved recently, but she used to do these activations that were, she plays the violin, so she would play a channeled piece of violin music that would activate a certain thing for you. And it is in our intention of listening to that music and giving our mind something to do, like listening to the notes that allows the energy to activate within us. And what I used to do when I would listen to her violin music is I would track the way that the notes were. So if a note went up, I would track it up and down, and I would just watch the flow of the notes, like in my mind, and just listen to it and let my heart open up from that. And you would release anxiety. She has so many different ones. I'll have to talk to her about coming in and showing us the new stuff she's doing, because also another thing that helps you get out of your mind and into your heart, creativity. Doing something creative, painting, writing a poem, singing. Creativity is what is going to pull you out of your head and into your heart. You can start by doing maybe, you know what else is awesome is getting into your heart by co-creating with your higher self, by co-creating with source. And all you have to do is set the intention, like, okay, I have this paper out here, I have these paints here, just guide me. And then do some intuitive painting, and just instead of thinking what you want the piece to look like, all you're doing is like waiting for inspiration. Like maybe the red catches your eye and you grab some red. And I just joined. Who are we talking about? We were talking about Ashley Hay. Ashley Hay is who we were talking about. She's amazing at creativity. I'll have to invite her to come and talk in our group because she's amazing. And she is a very powerful healer, and she just uses these different modalities. Like she was using violin. Now she's doing these resin paintings where she's activating crystal energy in it. And then she just created those. If you guys saw that post that I just did, it's the solfeggio frequencies. I don't even know how to say it, but it's the different ones that align to your different chakras. And yeah, thanks, I just heard. Yeah, that's her. She does that. So she's very creative. And so what she does is she uses creativity as a distraction to get your mind to be distracted with that so that the healing and energy can come through. So when we can distract our mind with something like music or paintings or anything like that, it's distracted by that thing, so then the energy can come through. So you can dip back into your heart, and instead of like being in your head like pensive and trying to figure stuff out, you are in the flow of creativity. And creativity unlocks so much for us, so much potential, right? So anyways, just wanted to share this stuff with you guys. Did you guys have any questions or anything like that? I will post a few links to music that I like to meditate to. You can find some binaural beats that unlock different chakras. If you are trying to get into your heart center, I would go look up heart chakra meditations and allow yourself to just feel into that frequency, because the more you can align yourself and familiarize yourself with that frequency, the more you'll be able to just choose where to go, right? Because you can sense, like, in your, pretend like we're looking at, like, you know those heartbeats where it's like up and down and up and down? Well, when you're in your mind and you're in anxiety, the line looks like this. It's very erratic and it's very like fast and quick. When you're in your heart center, it's more smooth and slow, right? Can you post the name of the song you played? Yeah, I'll post that too. So just being able to familiarize yourself with the feelings of being in the different centers. So say you're in your head in anxiety and it feels a certain way. It feels heavy. It feels like you can't catch your breath. It feels like you can't breathe. There's a lot of anxiety there. There's a lot of fear there. You can choose to come back to your heart center. And by just listening to those meditations or aligning yourselves with that binaural beat or that frequency allows you to consciously go to that area. And then you release anything that was up in here. Okay? So that's kind of what I wanted to say on how to get out of your head into your heart. If you guys still have more questions or you still have a specific question, you can ask me or you can post it in the comments and I'll help you work through it. I would also go into your Gene Keys chart and I would look at your victim patterns and I would see, okay, when I'm in my head and I can't get out of my head, is there a victim pattern playing out here? And how can I release that victim pattern or get into the gift frequency, right? So if you keep feeling like you are a victim of your obsessive mind, that is, I don't know, 61, 62, 63, 64, one of those. A lot of those 61, 62, 63, 64, 18, 17, a lot of those originate in the head. So if you have your human design chart, go look at your human design chart and look at your head center and see where you're getting hung up in your head center. Which gates are activated for you? And how does that show up in your mind? Just see what you can understand with your mind. Because once your mind, your ego understands, it can kind of sit back because your ego has a lot of questions. It wants to understand things logically. And when you can't prove anything, it doesn't want to believe. So what we're trying to do is raise the frequency of your ego mind. It's not about releasing your ego mind. It's about bringing your ego mind up out of the victim mindset and aligning it with your higher self, aligning it with your soul. And when they can align, they can merge and they can create that divine union. Because we do need our mind. We're here in this physical world, in this physical manifestation. You do need your ego, right? And so it's about aligning and merging those two because you are mind, body, and soul. So you want to align all of those, not just your soul. It's not about releasing your mind or releasing your body or anything like that. It's about having that trinity, that sacred trinity of mind, body, and soul. So we're raising the frequency of our body, by eating the right things, by exercising. We're raising the frequency of our mind by releasing any of those victim patterns, by doing that mindset work, by aligning our mind with our heart. We're making that connection, that mind-heart connection, so that it can operate at the same frequency, right? Because if you make that connection from your mind to your heart is going to help your mind ascend, help your mind raise, and then you'll learn the different patterns, the different mindset tricks to keep you at a higher frequency, so that you can create that divine union between your mind, body, and soul. Because if one's out of sync, it throws off a lot of stuff in your life, mind, body, and soul. There's also something flying next to me, and I was trying to figure out what it was. I'm like, oh, are you an animal totem? What are you trying? It's a fly. So fly usually symbolizes shadows. So it's about looking into your shadows, illuminating those shadows, and bringing light to them so that you can be in the gift frequency, right? So it's about doing that here for the physical, mental, spiritual experience. Yeah, the physical experience, which is including the mental and spiritual. Remember, you guys also have another trinity, and that's personal, business, and social. So social, like this, and having connections to your friends and your family, that's relationships too. Personal, which could be like spiritual type stuff, like you personally, and then business. And if any of these are out of whack, it throws off the other one. So if you're having personal issues, or if you're having relationship issues, that is going to throw off your business. That's going to throw off the other one. So remember, it's about aligning and integrating all of them together at a high frequency. And once you do that, you're not having as many problems, you're not feeling as much anxiety, and it's not manifesting these situations that you have to work through. It's, you know, obviously we're always going to have things that come to us that are less than favorable, but it's your way and your perception of it that allows you to move through it with ease. And so that's what we're trying to do, is when your mind, when your ego is not feeling like the victim all the time, any problem that arises, it feels like it could tackle. There's perseverance and not struggle. When you're in the victim shadow, it's struggle, right? And when your ego, when your mind knows that there is a purpose to it, it's perseverance. So then we're in perseverance, and there is no struggle anymore. So align yourself with a purpose. So when you are trying to get out of your head and into your heart, in that frequency, the purpose is to be at a higher vibration and to release any anxiety, right? Because none of us want that anxiety. None of us want to feel that fear or anxiety. So that's the reason why we're bringing our awareness to our heart center. We're putting our heart in the driver's seat instead of our mind, because our mind's not quite ready to take the wheel yet. It's still like thinking it's going to die, or that somebody's chasing it behind. Like, our mind just is crazy and is just trying to survive, right? And so we're going to let our heart take the wheel, let our heart drive, and then our mind will know that it's okay. It's okay to let my heart drive, because I am not being attacked. I'm not a victim. I'm not oppressed. And so that allows us to have more peace, have more inner peace, when we can lead with our heart instead of our mind. So let me know how this is working for you, getting out of your head and into your heart, and if this helped at all. Okay? Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.